Welcome to IoT Forge Unplugged, your bi-weekly dive into the latest from the world of IoT, embedded devices, robotics and all the smart things around us. I'm your host Pavel Korshunov, bringing you a careful curated update of the most exciting developments from the industry. Today is April 29th, making our 8th episode of 2025, and we have a fantastic lineup of topics. We'll explore a comprehensive demo from Goliath Cloud, discover new integration with Home Assistant and Rail-Link, learn about Arduino's innovative bio-based PCBs, discuss Hugging Face's ambitious move into open-source robotics, witness humanoid robots struggling in a Beijing marathon, and wrap up with some ingenious reprogramming of Roombas. But first, exciting news about the future of our own IoT Forge community. You know, we started IoT Forge as a small, almost local initiative. Just a handful of engineers, makers and thinkers sharing knowledge and passion for all things IoT. But the truth is, we were never really limited by geography. Curiosity travels fast, and so do good ideas. That's why I'm absolutely thrilled to announce that IoT Forge now has its own website, iotforge.io, and a YouTube channel. All links will be in the description. Maybe you're even listening to this episode on one of these platforms right now. These new spaces are built for you, a place to discover, share and amplify the innovation that are shaping our connected world. If you like what we are doing, if you believe in the power of open ideas and engineering-driven exploration, please share, subscribe and help us grow. Every listener, every comment, every bit of support makes a real difference. Let's see just how far we can take this together. In the last IoT Forge Unplugged episode, we already touched on Goliath, the rising star in the IoT backend world that's making serious waves. And if that caught your attention, I highly recommend checking out a fantastic deep dive they just published, a full Goliath Cloud demo. This isn't just a polished marketing splash. It's the real setup Goliath shows to their biggest customers. A complete end-to-end demo where actual devices, firmware, fleet management, remote control and cloud data routing all come together in one coherent story. It's an engineer's dreams. No vague promises, but actual working flows. What stood out to me is how much thought they put into tackling real-world challenges that every IoT development eventually hits. Device lifecycle management, over-the-air updates, telemetry adjustment at scale, flexible cloud integrations. If you ever wrestle with stitching all these together manually, you'll appreciate the elegant architecture Goliath offers out of the box. Even if you're just building a prototype now, understanding these patterns early can save you months down the road. And for managers and architects listening, it's a blueprint for scaling your IoT product without falling into the DIY cloud spaghetti trap. I highly recommend giving it a look. I'll leave the link in the episode notes. And some fresh news from my beloved Home Assistant. Honestly, these guys never stop. There's always something brewing over there, and apart from some even bigger announcement we'll touch on later, yeah, a little sneak peek, robots. Today's update is something anyone among you can and should try at home. Rail-Link, a company I personally highly recommend and have been using for years, has officially joined the Works with Home Assistant program. What I loved about Rail-Link is that they offer a truly cloud-agnostic solution, meaning your footage, your data, your privacy stays yours. No forced cloud subscriptions, no unnecessary exposure. This partnership promises even deeper native integration, better real-time video streaming, smarter event detection, and an overall more reliable experience inside Home Assistant. For anyone who has ever wrestled with half-baked camera integrations, this is a real game changer. If you were ever thinking about setting up a local-first, private smart security system, honestly, now it's a perfect time to jump in. Another project that really caught my attention this week comes straight from Arduino. They are now actively working on bio-based PCBs. Now, if you ever watched DIY IoT projects on YouTube, you've seen how easy, almost too easy, it has become to design and order custom PCBs. Services are fast, cheap and promoted almost everywhere. And it's awesome until you realize the darker side. When hobbyists or even professionals take their first steps into PCB design, there are a lot of failures and a lot of boards that don't work. And guess what happens to all those failed prototypes? They end up as electronic waste, tiny, colorful, shiny, but not biodegradable trash. We have seen something similar already happening in the world of 3D printing, where recycling solutions are slowly entering the market to handle all the plastic misprints. Arduino seems to be thinking ahead for PCBs. By researching bio-based, more sustainable alternatives, they could help us prototype freely without the guilt of contributing to e-waste mountains. This isn't just about feeling good. It could also lead to a whole new standard for electronic kits, rapid prototyping, and maybe even mass manufacturing down the line. Imagine being able to iterate on your design without worrying about their end-of-life impact. I will definitely be following this initiative closely. And I think anyone tinkering with hardware should too. What if one day your failed PCB could just simply compost back into the earth? If you've been working with AI over the past few years, it's almost impossible not to know Hugging Face. They are the team behind the de facto platform for sharing machine learning models, datasets and tools, almost like the GitHub for AI. They made collaborative AI development mainstream, open and beautifully messy in the best hacker tradition. But now Hugging Face is venturing into a space much closer to our podcast usual heartbeat. Real, tangible hardware. Hugging Face just acquired Pollen Robotics, the creators of the open source robot Richie, and announced that they're stepping into the world of open source AI-powered robots. Think about that. Hugging Face isn't just talking about democratizing access to AI models anywhere. They're preparing to democratize AI robots, physical systems that you can tweak, improve and completely repurpose without begging a vendor for access or reverse engineering proprietary blobs. The challenge they're taking on is huge. Building open source software is tough enough. Building open source hardware and even more open source robotics is another level of chaos. Supply chain headache, mechanical reliability, safety standards, and the eternal problem of supporting thousands of variations because, well, it's open and people will mod everything. But that is also the promise. For those of us who build IoT systems, smart devices, or dream about robotics becoming something more than just Roombas and factory arms, this could be a real inflection point. Hugging Face may help birth of generation of robots that are as hackable as Raspberry Pi was to computers. If you want a glimpse of where AI meets embedded systems, and not just in theory but with gears, arms and blinking LEDs, this is the project to watch. Now let's talk about one of the most fascinating robotics experiments that recently unfolded in Beijing, the world's first half-marathon for humanoid robots. Over 100 robots lined up at the starting line, designed by universities, research labs and companies from across China. Expectations were high, at least symbolically, but reality hit hard. Most of these robots stumbled, overheated, or simply gave up after a few miles. Out of more than 130 entrants, only 8 completed the full 13.1 miles, and even that took them over 12 hours. That's slower than the slowest human marathons recorded. Now, why is this still exciting? Because it bluntly exposed the gap between demo videos and real-world capabilities. In controlled environments, robots look amazing, balancing, running, performing tricks. But when faced with uneven sidewalks, temperature fluctuation, or just the brutal passage of time, they reveal how brittle our best designs still are. The things we take for granted, managing body temperature, adjusting to minor cracks in the pavement, are huge engineering challenges for robotics. The Beijing race was a public reality check. If it's not just about making legs move, it's about endurance, dynamic balance, power management, and autonomous decision-making under degrading conditions. For those of us dreaming of robots that could work alongside us, from warehouse floors to search and rescue operations, this marathon is a reminder. Real-world development demands grit, not just grace. And engineering that grit is a long, painful, but thrilling journey. Would you trust a robot firefighter if it overheats halfway up the stairs? That's the kind of question these stumbles in Beijing are pushing the industry to ask, and eventually to answer. Continuing our journey through the world of robotics, let's dive into something close to home, literally. Researchers are now teaching old Roombas new tricks. At the University of Colorado Boulder, scientists have managed to repurpose standard off-the-shelf Roombas into multifunctional household assistants. Instead of just mindlessly vacuuming, these hacked Roombas were reprogrammed to handle tasks like picking up small items, nudging doors open, and even assisting in basic organization. What is brilliant about this project isn't just a technical achievement, it's the philosophy behind it. Instead of designing specialized home robots from scratch, which often cost a fortune and fails in mass production, they leveraged an already battle-tested, affordable, and widely available platform. Roombas are tough. They are built to survive chaotic environments like kids and pets, and crucially, they are already roaming around millions of homes. The team modified both the hardware and software, adding a small robotic arm and custom control algorithms. They also open-sourced much of their findings. I could not find a direct how to hack your own Roomba manual linked inside the article, but this space is exploding with guides and forums. And honestly, I'm personally itching to try this myself. Imagine operating the dust vacuum into a little butler that can drag socks back to the laundry room. From an engineering standpoint, the challenges are juicy. Limited onboard computing, battery optimization, and of course safety and precision without expensive sensors. But it's a real-world example of sustainable robotics, building smarter, not just newer. Maybe your old Roombas, banished in the garage, still has a second life waiting. And maybe, just maybe, the first DIY home robot army will come not from Silicon Valley, but from makers and engineers like us tinker with what's already rolling under our feet. That's all for this episode of IoT Forge Unplugged. Today we discussed powerful IoT solution from Goliath, smart integrations between Home Assistant and Real-Link, Arduino sustainability initiative, Hugging Faces robotics ambitious, and sobering reality of humanoid robots marathon, and clever Roombas repurposing. If you're enjoying today's episode, subscribe, like and share. Together let's keep growing. Catch you in 2 weeks, and until then, stay curious and keep building. Bye bye.